Hello everybody. So today we are discussing on the new topic, that is two compartment model IV Bolus. So far we have completed our one compartment open model kinetics for IV Bolus, IV infusion as well as extravascular. Let us start with the two compartment model for today's session. So as you know, it's a two compartment model that we have two compartments. There is the drug that is administered reach into the first compartment. The first compartment is the central compartment. So in the concept of the two compartment model, the body is divided into the two compartments. The entire body is considered as two compartments. The first compartment is the central compartment, second compartment is the peripheral compartment. The central compartment and the peripheral compartment, the division is based up on the perfusion or the distribution of the drug into the body. The organs, as you know what is perfusion rate. In the perfusion rate, we measure, it is a volume of body fluid that distributes per unit time into unit volume of tissue. So that you know what is perfusion rate. So based upon the perfusion rate, the organs are classified as highly perfused, moderately perfused and poorly perfused organs. In the concept of the one compartment model, irrespective of the distribution, the entire body is considered as a single compartment. That means the drug is equally distributed throughout the body. Drug is distributed equally in the systemic circulation in all the major organs as well as in the adipose tissues everywhere. Whereas in the two compartment model, it follows a different distribution pattern. That means the drug that administered into the systemic circulation or the drug administered orally after reaching into the systemic circulation, from the systemic circulation it transports or it distributes into the peripheral part of the body at a different rate of distribution. And the drug that present or that drug that distributed into the peripheral part of the body returns back into the central compartment at a particular rate or the rate. So the central compartment consists of the main organs of the body or the highly perfused organs of our system, whereas peripheral compartment may contains the moderately or the poorly perfused organs of our body. So as you know, the heart, liver, kidney, brain, the blood circulation, everything comes in the central compartment, and the drug molecule moves through the blood. From the systemic circulation it moves into the muscle, from the blood it moves into the adipose tissue, from the blood it moves into the bone marrow. That means it distributes from the systemic circulation into the other parts of the body, and such a distribution pattern, a different distribution pattern is followed in the two compartment model. Okay, so this is the concept of the two compartment model, and the elimination are same like the first compartment, since the eliminating organs are present in the central compartment or the excretory organs are present in the central compartment. The elimination happens from the central compartment. So here is a schematic representation of the two compartment open model extravascular administration. So here we have two compartment, one central, peripheral. The drug can be administered into the central compartment always. The drug that reached in the central compartment moves into the peripheral compartment, distributes into the peripheral compartment at a rate of K12. That means movement from first to the second compartment, that is represented as K12. The drug that moves from the central to peripheral at a rate of K12 follows which order of the process? It always follow first order process. Again, why it follows first order process? First order process depends on concentration. Again, the distribution is a passive process, highest concentration to lowest concentration. So this movement from first central to the peripheral, it follows a first order process, and there is always a balance between the amount of drug present in the systemic circulation and the amount of drug present in the peripheral compartment or the central compartment. That means there is a balance between the amount of drug present in the central as well as peripheral compartment. It is a balance. So as the amount of the drug in the central compartment increases, slowly the drug moves to the peripheral compartment. Okay, so this is the process of distribution. Now in the two compartment concept, again the second part is the redistribution of the drug from the peripheral compartment back into the central compartment. I said there is a balance between the central as well as the peripheral compartment. The drug excretion always occurs from where? Occurs from the central compartment. So the initial reduction of the drug can happen only in the central compartment, not in the peripheral compartment. The immediate reduction or the loss of drug in the body happens through the central compartment by the process of excretion. So if the absorption completes, what happens? The drug molecule starts reducing in the central compartment. So in order to maintain the balance, the drug present in the peripheral compartment starts redistributing back from the peripheral into the central compartment, and this process follows a rate of K21, that is movement of drug from the second compartment into the first compartment. So and this is a cyclic process. Drug move from central to peripheral, peripheral to central, and excretes out of the body from the central compartment. So this is a schematic representation of the two compartment open model IV bolus administration. Now let us see the graphical representation. So here you can see a graphical representation. Okay, you can see this is a plot of log drug concentration against time. Concentration, plasma drug concentration against time. So you just look into this graph. Look into this graph where the plasma concentration is decreasing. It is not a straight line, right? It is not a straight line. Now, from the graph, hope you remember what was the graphical representation for one compartment IV bolus. It was a straight line, that is straight line with a decreasing order or descending order of the plasma drug concentration. As the time progresses, the plasma drug concentration was decreasing and it was a straight line. But in case of the two compartment model, it is decreasing. It is decreasing in the descending order, but it is not a straight line. So this is the difference between the one compartment and the two compartment models. So from the graph itself, just by seeing the graph, you should be able to identify what is the number of compartment, what is the route of administration. So always if it is a decreasing order, assume it's only a IV bolus. Always it's an injection, but whether it follows a one compartment or two compartment, so it is based upon this graph. So if it is a one compartment, it follows purely a straight line. In this two compartment, you can see it's not a straight line, there is a bend in between. Now what is the reason for this? Why there is a bend in this? What happens is, once the drug is injected, once the drug is administered intravenously, in the two compartment model, there is a rapid distribution of the drug. So the moment the drug administered into your systemic circulation, the drug is present only in the systemic circulation, not in the peripheral compartment. The drug is present only in the central compartment, not in the peripheral compartment. So there is a maximum amount of drug in the central compartment and the lowest amount in the peripheral compartment the moment the drug administered, right? Now immediately what happens? There is passive transport higher concentration to lower concentration. Now where is the higher concentration? Higher concentration is in the central compartment and lower concentration is in the peripheral compartment. So immediately the drug transports from the central compartment into the peripheral compartment. This movement of the drug from the central to peripheral is a fast process. That fast process is exactly reflected in your representation, in the graphical representation. There will be a rapid decline. In the plasma drug concentration is observed in a two compartment model. So this rapid decline reason is what? Distribution from central to peripheral compartment. Now once this rapid declining is completed, it forms a balance between central and peripheral. So initial decrease, the reason for the initial decrease in the plasma concentration in the central compartment is what? That is the process of distribution. Further again, if you look into the graph, there is a reduction, but the slope is different. It's slowly reducing. It is not rapidly declining. The plasma concentration is slowly reducing from the central compartment. Why? Now here the reason for the decline in the plasma drug concentration is what? The process of excretion or the process of elimination. So in the terminal portion, once it attains a balance between the central and peripheral compartment, there is no further initial distribution. There is a distribution is there. Distribution is not attaining in a zero. Distribution process is there. Redistribution happens. Movement of drug from peripheral to central also happens. But the main reason for declining the plasma concentration is what? Elimination. So in this graph, this graph represents the two processes. The first process is what? Distribution of drug from the central to peripheral compartment, and the second process is what? Second process is the removal or the elimination of the drug or the excretion of drug from the central compartment. So all total, this graph is a bi-exponential or a mono-exponential graph. It's a bi-exponential graph. What are the exponent? Exponent for distribution and exponent for elimination. So this is a bi-exponential graph. That is the reason this bi-exponential graph has a curve position, or it's a curvy linear graph. You can remember your one compartment extravascular graph. What was the shape? It was a bell-shaped graph. The concentration was increasing. It reaches in the top height, then further it is decreasing, coming down, and it is form a bell-shaped graph. And it is a, how many exponents was there? There were two exponents. There the exponents, what was exponents? What were exponents were? Exponent for absorption and exponent for elimination. It was one compartment. There was no further distribution. So there was only exponent for absorption and elimination. Again here also, in case of IV bolus two compartment also, it follows a by exponential, but the exponent is for distribution as well as elimination. So this is the initial graphical representation of two compartment open model IV bolus administration. Okay, so hope the initial part is clear, very clear for you. Okay, that is schematic representation followed by graphical representation of the two compartment IV bolus. If you are not clear, kindly study the previous sessions of IV bolus and extravascular for one compartment open model thoroughly, then you listen to the sessions. Okay, now we are going to start the derivation, how to determine the pharmacokinetic parameters if the drug is administered IV bolus, which follows a two compartment model. So these are the variables which we are going to deal with here. That is CC. C always represents what? C represents the plasma drug concentration, right? So here CC represents the plasma drug concentration in the central compartment. One C, 4C stands for concentration. Second C stands for the central compartment. CP stands for concentration, drug concentration in the peripheral compartment. XP stands for amount. X stands for amount. XP stands for amount of drug in the peripheral compartment. XC stands for the amount of drug in the central compartment. K12, as you know, it is a rate of distribution from the first to the second compartment, and K21 is the rate of distribution from the central to peripheral compartment. Okay, so hope the variables are clear, but remaining variables all are you are familiar. These are the 3 to 6 variables, which new variables that we are going to discuss in this session. Okay, now let us start the derivation. So here is the graphical representation that you are clear. Okay, now the first equation, the rate of presentation of drug in the central compartment. Rate of presentation of drug in the central compartment. What does it mean? Means IV bolus. Okay, IV bolus, what was the equation? First equation for IV bolus one compartment model, that is rate in minus rate out. Rate in minus rate out. So that was the rate of presentation of drug into the body. That was rate in minus rate out. What is the rate in here? What is the rate out here? Is the rate in, that is rate of administration, is there? No, because it's an injection. Rate of administration is 0. Now what happens? The drug IV bolus administered into the systemic circulation. The drug distributes, and distribution means the movement of drug from the central to the peripheral compartment. Central to the peripheral compartment. So the change in concentration of drug molecule from the central to peripheral compartment. Then what happens? Move from peripheral to the central compartment, and the drug is eliminating out of the body. So the 3 steps is happening now, right? 3 processes. There is distribution from central to peripheral, peripheral to central, and elimination from central occurs. This is represented, the change in the plasma drug concentration, the change in the plasma drug concentration in the central compartment with respect to time, that is represented as dCC by dt. Look into the first equation, dCC by dt, that is change in the plasma drug concentration of the central compartment with respect to time. dCC by dt is equal to what? First is K21CP, means what? K21 stands for distribution from central peripheral to central compartment. It is depends on what? Movement of drug from peripheral compartment into the central compartment is depends upon the concentration of drug present in the peripheral compartment, right? Because it's a passive process. Passive process depends upon concentration. So process occurs from peripheral to central. So it depends upon the concentration of drug present in the peripheral compartment. Now, so that moment is represented by K21CP. Now, second it is movement of drug from the central to the peripheral compartment. Central to peripheral, it is rate of the process is K12. It is depends upon what? Depends upon the concentration of drug present in the central compartment. So it is represented as K12CC. Lastly, the drug is eliminating out of the body. It is also depends upon the concentration of drug present in the central compartment, and it is with a rate constant of Ke, that is Ke into Cc. So this is the demonstration of the drug presentation in the central compartment. Okay, so this dCC by dt is equal to K21CP minus K12CC minus KeCC. Now, you know, X is equal to CVD, that is amount is equal to C into VD. So C is equal to what? C is equal to X by VD. It's a normal equation, no? X is equal to CVD, so C is equal to X by VD. Now what happens? Change now the first equation in terms of concentration, you change into terms of amount, that's all. Okay, concentration term you converting into term of amount. Okay, nothing different. So just convert how it looks like. So dCC by dt, that is equal to in the first equation it was K21CP. CP will be C is equal to X by VD. So CP stands for what? Concentration of the plasma. So CP can be rewritten as XP by VP. XP stands for amount of drug in the peripheral compartment divided by volume of the peripheral compartment. So the equation become X21 XP K21 XP divided by VP minus K12CC. CC can be written as XC divided by VC. So K12 XC divided by VC minus Ke into XC divided by VC. So this is the first equation is just converted in terms of amount, okay, x by c, right? Okay, keep in mind. Now the third portion. Again, initially we have calculated the change in presentation of drug in the central compartment. Let us see how it is the change in the drug concentration in the peripheral compartment with respect to time. That is represented as dCp divided by dt. That is change in concentration on the peripheral compartment divided with the respect to time. dCp by dt is equal to K12cc. K12cc means what? Movement of drug from the first compartment, central compartment, into the peripheral compartment with the depends upon the concentration of drug in the central compartment. That is represented as K12cc, and movement of drug back from the peripheral compartment into the central compartment at a rate of K21cp. Okay, so this is the equation that representing the rate of presentation of drug in the peripheral compartment. Same like the previous one. Now we convert the term into terms of amount. Okay, see, we are converting to terms of amount. How the equation becomes? Fourth equation is K12cc. Instead of cc you have to write xc divided by vc, minus K21. Instead of cp you have to write xp divided by vp. Okay, now we got two equations. First equation is what? This equation, that is rate of presentation of drug in the central compartment with respect to time, in terms of amount. Okay, second equation is change in concentration of the drug in the peripheral compartment with respect to time in terms of amount. So these two equations. Now you integrate these two equations. Upon integration of these two equations, you will get this fifth equation, that is cc is equal to x0 divided by vc all multiplied with the K21 minus alpha divided by beta minus alpha into e raised to minus alpha t plus K21 minus beta divided by alpha minus beta into e raised to minus beta t. And the upon integration of the next equation for the peripheral compartment, you will get Cp is equal to x0 divided by Vp into K12 divided by beta minus alpha into e raised to minus alpha t plus K12 divided by alpha minus beta into e raised to minus beta t. So these are the two equations we got after integration. Okay, now we are going to simplify it. How we are going to simplify it? Let us see. Now, okay, before that, now here we have two new terms which we are now discussed, that is alpha and beta, because it was not in the previous equations, right? The initial differential equation, nothing alpha and beta was not there, but rightly after integration you got alpha and beta. What is the reason? What is this alpha and beta? So alpha and beta are the two micro constants. Okay, they are two micro constants because after integration alpha plus beta, it is written as sum of K12 plus K21 plus Ke, and alpha beta is written as product of K21 and Ke. Okay, so the product of K21 and Ke is summarized as product of alpha beta, and sum of K12, K21 and Ke is summarized as alpha plus beta. That's it. Okay, so these are the alpha and beta. Now this equation we simplified and written as the first equation for the central compartment, written as Cc equal to A into e raised to minus alpha t plus B into e raised to minus beta t. Now again new terms, that is capital A and capital B. What are those? Capital A and capital B. Capital A and B are the hybrid constants. Alpha and beta are the micro constants. Capital A and capital B are the hybrid constants. Okay, now what is this hybrid constant? It is a simple substitution of only, right? Now you look into this. The top level, what you are seeing, the top one in this equation, okay, this equation, that is the previous equation, that is after integration we got this. Instead of this equation, x0 by vc into K21 minus alpha divided by beta minus alpha, we just substitute as A, and substitute B for K21 minus beta divided by alpha minus beta. That's it. It's just a substitution process. Okay. So by substituting, instead of x0 by vc into K21 minus alpha divided by beta minus alpha as capital A, and K21 minus beta divided by alpha minus beta as capital B, we got what? Cc is equal to a e raised to minus alpha t plus b e raised to minus beta t. Now we look into the eighth equation. A substitution is given. A is equal to x0 by vc into k21 minus alpha divided by beta minus alpha. x0 by vc means what? X is the amount, v is the volume, x by v is what? Concentration. So x0 represent what? x0 is the initial amount of drug. X represents the amount of drug at a time t. x0 represents the initial amount of drug administered. Okay, same way by converting x0 by vc we will get what? C0. Okay, so C0 equal to k21 minus alpha divided by beta minus alpha. So we got the final equation as Cc is equal to a e raised to minus alpha t plus b e raised to minus beta t. And here is the graphical representation what we have already seen. This is the same graphical representation that is for two compartment IV bolus. There is a reduction in the plasma drug concentration, declination of the plasma drug concentration from highest concentration to a lowest concentration. That is Cc equal to a e raised to minus alpha t plus b e raised to minus beta t. Now the equation representing this line is the a e raised to minus alpha t plus b e raised to minus beta t. Okay. So this is a bi-exponential. Now this is a general equation for two compartment IV bolus administration. This is a general equation for two compartment open model IV bolus administration. Now we need to calculate or we need to determine the various pharmacokinetic parameters from this equation, like what is K21, what is K12, KE, clearance, VD, AUC, all these parameters we need to determine from this equation and from this graph. We got a graph and we got a equation that representing the graph, but the graph is a bi-exponential. We know if from a bi-exponential graph how to determine the mono-exponential. In the case of one compartment extravascular, in the previous sessions we learned method of residuals, right? In the method of residuals for splitting a bi-exponential graph into a mono-exponential graph. How to convert a bi-exponential graph into mono-exponential graph we already studied. Let us apply the same concept here. Nothing more is there. Same concept. Okay. Now look into this graph. In this graph, you know it is a bi-exponential. If you look into the highest concentration, there is a rapid declining. That area represents what? Distribution, high distribution. Does it mean that there is no elimination? There is elimination is also there, but there the distribution is higher. So the highest concentration part of this graph, there is distribution, at the same time there is elimination, but distribution is dominating. Once the rapid distribution is completed, so there the rate of distribution will be higher. Now once the rapid distribution is completed, in the terminal portion means this portion of the graph, terminal portion of this graph, what happens? There happens mainly what? Which process? Elimination. There the elimination is dominating. So for the ease of splitting this graph, what we can do, you have to back extrapolate. The first step of converting bi-exponential to a mono-exponential is back extrapolating from the terminal phase. What is the speciality of the terminal phase? In the terminal phase there is only one exponent, whereas in the initial phase means this phase we have what? This is a bi-exponential portion. Okay, so the terminal portion is representing only a single exponent, and we can back extrapolate from the terminal part of this line towards what? Towards the y-axis. Back extrapolate as a straight line, and back extrapolation. So this graph you can listen. So first two graphs are there, right? So the back extrapolated one towards the y-axis, we got a y-intercept. So the slope of that y-intercept will give you the value of beta, because what? How the derivation becomes. Now this is the equation, that is C is equal to a e raised to minus alpha t plus b e raised to minus beta t. In this bi-exponential equation, alpha represents the micro constant for distribution and beta represents the micro constant for elimination. Alpha represents the micro constant for distribution, and beta represent the micro constraint for elimination. Now in the initial phase, which is higher? Distribution is higher or elimination is higher? Which one is higher? Distribution is higher, right? Because distribution happens from central to peripheral, that process is more faster. So in the initial phase, the distribution is much higher than that of the elimination. So if the distribution is exponent alpha is higher, any term e raised to minus of alpha t, any term e raised to minus of the higher value is a negligible value. So what happens? The term a e raised to minus alpha t becomes 0. A e raised to minus alpha t becomes 0. Finally, what the equation becomes? So this happens in the splitting. So the equation becomes C back extrapolated is equal to B e raised to minus beta t, because A e raised to minus alpha t become a negligible value. So finally the remaining is what? C back extrapolated is equal to B e raised to minus beta t. Okay, now taking the log C, taking the logarithm, log C back extrapolated is equal to log B minus beta t divided by 2.303. Log C back extrapolated is equal to log B minus beta t divided by 2.303. Okay, so this is the equation that representing the red line in the graph. In the second graph, we got a back extrapolated line. Back extrapolated, that is a straight line. The equation that represents the straight line is what? Log C back extrapolated is equal to log B minus beta t divided by 2.303. So if you take the slope of this red line, you will get a what value? Slope is equal to minus of beta divided by 2.303. Minus of beta divided by 2.303. And beta is equal to slope into 2.303. That's it. Okay. So we got the first rate constant, that is beta. Now we want to, beta stands for elimination. Beta is a micro constant that's supporting the elimination. Now we have to determine the alpha. So we got an initial concentration and we got a residual concentration. How we calculate? We got a back extrapolated concentration. Sorry, we got an initial concentration C as well as we got a back extrapolated concentration. And now from these two concentrations we have to determine the residual concentration. So residual concentration CR is equal to what? CR is equal to C minus C back extrapolated. C minus C back extrapolated. So we have in the 0 time we have C as 35 and at the 0 time we have C back extrapolated as 25. So what is the CR for the 0 time? That is equal to 35 minus 25. Same way in the second time point, third time point. So we have at each time point we have difference between the initial concentration as well as the back extrapolated concentration, that is CR is equal to C minus C back extrapolated. So we have to determine the residual concentration until from the beginning until the concentration becomes equal to back extrapolated concentration. We have to determine the residual concentration CR. So C minus C back extrapolated is equal to A e raised to minus alpha t. That is equation there. Now what was equation? C is equal to A e raised to minus alpha t minus B e raised to minus beta t, and C back extrapolated is equal to what? B e raised to minus beta t. What is CR? CR is equal to A e raised to minus alpha t. Now take the logarithm. Log CR is equal to log A minus alpha t divided by 2.303. Log A minus alpha t divided by 2.303. Okay, so a slope of this line, so this is this green line is a residual line. So once after getting the residual concentration, in the same graph itself you plot the concentration against time. This residual concentration you plot. So this graph represents the residual graph, and slope of this residual graph will gives you the value for alpha. Slope of this line gives you the value of minus alpha divided by 2.303, and we can determine the alpha by multiplying slope into 2.303. okay, so log CR equal to log A minus alpha t, and this is the graphical representation given in your textbook. Okay, now you can clearly see this is the first dark line and here is an elimination portion. So slope of that line gives you what? Slope of that line gives you beta, value of beta. This is beta here, and here we have a residual line. Okay, here we have a residual line. Okay, residual line slope is equal to minus alpha divided by 2.303. Okay, so these are the graphical representation for a two compartment IV bolus administration. Now we got two parameters only. What we got? We got only alpha and beta. Now from this alpha beta, by substituting in some of the equations, we needed to determine K21, K12 and as well as Ke. Okay, have to determine C0 equal to A plus B. What is A and B here? First of all, so A and B, in this graph it is clearly written what is A and B. So initially from the terminal portion of the line we have back extrapolated to the y-axis and we got a y-intercept. So this y-intercept is what? This y-intercept is capital B, and we got a residual line intersected in the y-axis. The y-intercept of the residual line is represented as capital A. So sum of values of A plus B gives you the value of C0. C0 is the initial concentration. Ke is equal to alpha beta C0 divided by A beta plus B alpha. K12 is equal to AB into beta minus alpha the whole square divided by C0 into A beta plus B alpha. K21 is equal to A beta plus B alpha divided by C0, and AUC is equal to A by alpha plus B by beta. VD is equal to X0 by C0. VDSS equal to V0 plus VC plus VP. VD AD is equal to X0 by beta into AUC, and clearance is equal to beta into VD. Okay, so these are the some of the equations for determining the various pharmacokinetic parameters. This has been derived by substituting in the values in the initial values as well as in the previous equation that we studied. The concept is simple, because you know you have already learned in the previous slide what is alpha plus beta and what is alpha beta. By substituting in these values you can determine K21, K12, Ke, etc. Then VD, as you know, is equal to always X by C, that is VOD is equal to amount by concentration, and clearance is always equal to Ke into VD. That was equation for IV bolus. So here beta represents the process of elimination, so clearance equal to beta into VD. So this final part, the equations for determining the various pharmacokinetic parameters you have to study in by heart. Okay, remaining derivations you have to keep in mind. You have to understand and learn the remaining derivations. Okay, so just go through. If you are not understanding this, first of all you should have a thorough knowledge on IV bolus as well as extravascular and infusion. If you learn properly IV bolus, extravascular and infusion, easily you can understand the two compartment model. Okay, so if you are not getting, please go through those three derivations, then you come back to the two compartment IV bolus and learn, you will get the thing. Okay, so that's all about two compartment open model IV bolus. Thank you so much.